Good morning, everybody. It's me, Terry Hunter. Welcome back. It's Sunday, July 28th, 2019, and I'm here with messages from your angels on this new moon in Leo this week. I'm excited to be back. First piece of business is we did not have a winner this week. The number was 157. And it was sad but true. There was no winner. So we'll play again. Remember, everybody, it is picking a number from 1 to 500 so that you can win a free half hour with me. And for those of you that are new to the show, my name is Terry Hunter. I'm a contributor on Lada's channel here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And I do messages from your angels, advice from your angels for the coming week. Hi, everybody. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Darlene. Hi, MXD. I can't even say that one. Hi, Evelyn. Welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to talk about this week's animal totem. And I really kind of struggled with this week. I came up with a couple of ideas. And then, I don't know, they just didn't seem to fit. So I ended up, good morning, small wildflowers. I ended up getting a message from one of the viewers, VK, here on the show, and she sent me a video of a butterfly or a picture of a butterfly that had landed on her toe, and it stayed there for a half an hour, and it would flutter away and then it would come back. And it really kind of inspired me because it felt like within her story she was telling me that she was sitting out in the garden sort of looking out at nature and talking to God and the angels and asking them for signs. And then she was just kind of quiet. And then this little butterfly just came and answered her request. And to me, I also thought about, we talk about butterflies representing transformation, but rarely do we talk about how traumatic their transformation is. Not only do they start off as the caterpillar that, is this little bug crawling on a twig, but then once they transform into the butterfly and release themselves from the cocoon, they are bloodied and their wings are wet and they have to lay vulnerable and dry out before they're able to actually get up and go on their merry way. So I really wanted to say this week we have a new moon in Leo. It's a very exciting moon for me. I feel like it's a time to start to roar with what we want, start to see our manifestations. We're going to start to see evidence of them this week. We're going to start to see all the hard work we've been doing inside start to coagulate and start to work for us. So I wanted to bring up butterfly this week as the totem. I kind of had resisted the real common ones like butterfly and hummingbird, but I just couldn't. It was such a beautiful story and such a beautiful photo. So that's what we have for this week. Okay, small wildflowers, you go mow the lawn. That does not sound like much fun, honestly. I hope you're sitting on that mower. Anyway, we'll do our best to keep the room going while you're gone. Okay, everybody, here we go. We're going to start and we're going to go backwards again today. I just am feeling like I'm just going to, the rebel in me, the Aries rising is like, you know what? We'll just kind of keep this up. So we're going to start with Pisces again and see what Spirit has to say for you this week. Hi, everybody. Hi, Cece. Hi, it looks like Tree Chic 1, 2, 3. Barbara, welcome. Anastasia, Kate, anybody that I missed? Okay, let's see what Spirit has to say for Pisces on this new moon. And, I want to also mention that a new moon in Leo is about the 5th house. And we talk about children and creative genius, but it's about fun. It's about personal pleasures. It's about what feels good to us. So I really think this is a great week to just, say, hey, it's my turn to roar and let the no sleeping lions tonight. Okay. Pisces, here we go. Welcome, South Africa. Good morning, Loretta. Good morning, Shelley. Good morning, Portia. Okay, our first angel for our Pisces rising is Caressa. Our second angel is Seraphina. Our third is Maya. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Okay. All right, let's see who's joining. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Ariel. All right, Pisces rising, going backwards again. We're moonwalking through the zodiac. Okay. Joining Caressa is the High Priestess. Joining Seraphina is the King. Joining Maya is the Hawk. And joining Archangel Gabriel is the Stag. Wow. Okay, so my Pisces rising. This is how it looks to me. Caressa talks about being at the end of a life cycle, that a new chapter, a new happiness awaits you, and the angels are guiding you and comforting you during this transition. And then here's the High Priestess. The High Priestess is about my vision for myself. It is also about prophecy. It's about intuition. It's about deeper inner knowing, the inner goddess. I think for my Pisces rising this week, you're going to start to see the end of struggling towards your vision and moving a little bit more in towards your vision, the vision of how you want to live your life, whether that be, a career move, starting of a family, whatever the dynamic is, because I have in the opportunity or the obstacle, I have Seraphina and the King. Now, Seraphina represents, again, a happy change to the family. She's holding a baby. And the King can represent male energy. But for me, when I first looked at it, it feels like it's karma now. It's your turn, Pisces rising. It's like you've been putting in the intention. You've been putting in the hard work of looking at what the Pluto energy is that's bubbling up. And now it's going to start to bear fruit, because in the angel's advice, they're showing me that here's the schooling card. Maya, she talks about schooling and education, but for me, this is more often than not my energetic education, because where I'm putting my focus is where I'm living. And if I'm living in a focus that doesn't work for me, that's not fun. So here's the Hawk. And this is where I feel like the angels are saying, Pisces rising, you've been doing the hard work of looking at what has been as your fears. The Hawk is about rising above my fears so that I can see that they're usually projections into the future. They're usually not sitting right here in front of us, because this ends with Archangel Gabriel asking you to turn over your insecurities to her. And then the Stag asking Pisces to start to stand in that leadership of your vision. Because this week, I honestly believe that this week there should start to be evidence of this manifestation coming through. And sometimes it is as simple as sitting in the garden and having a butterfly land on your toe. And then thinking about not only what butterfly means, but looking at the colors of the butterfly. Butterflies come in a variety of colors. The monarchs are orange and black. Orange represents our sacral chakra, our wants and desires. And then the black can represent the darkness that we're coming out of as we move towards our wants and desires. So for my Pisces rising, if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling unsure, then you simply ask Spirit for that evidence. Give me that evidence. You said you would comfort and guide me as we walk towards my vision. So I now ask you to show me that evidence. And then as you feel it and as you see it, you may doubt something. You may say, oh, I don't know, is that just a coincidence? Then ask them to show you something 3 times. A 3 is a significant number for me. It not only represents the Trinity, but it's not a coincidence. Once could be an anomaly, twice, I don't know, but 3 times is not. So that's what I have to say for my Pisces rising. And now I'm going to go on to Aquarius. Okay, everybody. Okay, 105. All right, Stacy, good putting in your numbers for this week. We thought we were on a little bit of a roll. And Kit Kat, you still have to reach out to me and email me to schedule your reading. Okay, here we go. Aquarius rising. Again, I want to remind everybody, if you have a stellium of planets, you don't have to have your sun, your ascendant, or your moon in Aquarius. But if Neptune is in there, if Mercury, if Jupiter, if Venus is in Aquarius, then check that sign as well, because that's going to have a strong influence on y'all. Okay, here we go. Aquarius rising. Our first angel is Seraphina. Our second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Xana. And the final is Oceana. Okay. Oops. Well, who just popped out? The butterfly. Wow. I'm going to have to take it. The butterfly, the forgiveness card, the truth card. Wow. And our final angel is the restriction card. All right, my Aquarius rising. This is interesting because the butterfly, we've just been talking about being this week's totem, about the very arduous journey that the caterpillar goes through to become the butterfly. And then we have Seraphina, a happy change is coming to my family. And as I pulled the angel cards, I felt like that my Aquarius rising was getting frustrated with the timing of things. That maybe there is this, like, you've been able to see a bit of things happening, but it's not happening quick enough for you. Or you're frustrated that you can see clarity moving towards it, and yet you have to wait for some other dynamics to come into play or other people to come into play before you can get to that next position. Because in the opportunity of the obstacle, I have Archangel Uriel, and I have the forgiveness card. And the forgiveness card for me is always about reconciliation. It's about figuring out the wisdom in the situation that is frustrating me. Because I think that this is a frustration with the timing of things for Aquarius rising. I feel like it's not happening fast enough. Because I also think that there's a wisdom to the pause. When we endeavor things, like, for instance, let's just say we're buying a new house, we don't really think of the idea that the purchase of that house has its own birth chart. The day, the time that you sign that contract that says you're buying that house, that's a birth chart. So whatever planets are in play are going to be the foundation for that experience. And I didn't do this throughout my life. It never occurred to me. I wanted to create something. I just started it. But if you think about all the retrogrades that have been going on for the last 2 years, and all of the hard work Saturn and Pluto have been asking us to, I want to use the word endure, because we're really lifting up that rug, really cleaning out the depths of what's not been working. So I want to say this for my Aquarius rising. In the angel's advice, this is Xana, the angel of protection, saying the worst type of harm is behind you. And there's the truth card. I feel like there is this frustration that you may be feeling, or this timing issue that you're trying to work through. Spirit, in some ways, is giving you a good birth chart for whatever it is you want to endeavor. It may not always be so great to start things when there's Mercury, Neptune, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn and K2 all going backwards. So if we kind of look at it, the bigger picture there, then we don't have to be so frustrated. That's spirit protecting us from a dynamic that may not serve our greatest good down the line. And we finished this week with Oceana and the restriction card. Now, this is interesting because Oceana says to take action and lovingly assert yourself, and there's the restriction card. I think this is about the butterfly. This is not necessarily about taking physical action. It's about the metamorphosis. It's about the winged animal that must wait for those wings to dry. And it's not a fun experience. And the butterfly is very vulnerable during that time. Basically, it is like a small child unable to care for itself. So I feel like what I want to say overall is that, yes, there is going to be, I believe there's going to be forward motion for Aquarius this week, but it's going to be as a result of somebody else or some other dynamic opening a door that gives you evidence that spirit is leading you to the next chapter, or the next right step is a better way to put it. I don't think it's a big chapter move as much as it's the next logical step towards whatever it is you want to manifest. And the pauses are because it's spirit in many ways is trying to create fertile ground for this endeavor to be manifested upon. I hope that made sense. Okay. All right, let's go on to Capricorn. My goats. Aquarius rising here. Hi, Ariel. Been seeing 9/11 a lot, so I know I'm protected. I think that's very true. And a lot of cleansing. Yes, there's a hi, VK. We were just talking about your butterfly experience this week. Butterfly is the totem this week, and I shared your story with the butterfly landing on your toe. Just so exciting. I want to say this, guys. Sometimes when we get into our frustrated energy, it's hard for us to see the signs. We doubt ourselves more. We think it's just, sometimes we just don't see them. They could be right there, right in front of our face, and we don't see them. So I feel like this week with this new moon and this Leo energy, this is about, really telling spirit in a big way, I'm roaring towards my dreams. I'm roaring towards my desires, and allowing yourself the privilege of musing into the, idea that the lion is the king, and the sun rules your planet, and I mean your sign, and there your color is gold. I kind of want to dig rich into that experience, and sort of expect the universe to comply. That's the word I want to use, because when we put a strong intention on things, it's it's kind of crazy, because yes, we are under the influence of all these transits and all these planetary activity, but it is also that exhilaration of saying, you know what, I'm going to be fearless in this moment, and then go to spirit and have them give you a sign. Because again, sometimes that pause is important, because if you're about to go into a flow and you've been pushing and pushing and pushing, you'll be exhausted going into the flow. So surrendering to a pause can sometimes actually give you the fuel that you need to really conquer the next step. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this week, Spirit is asking all of us, not just Aquarius rising, but to look at a bigger picture of things, rather than to allow ourselves to get into that frustration over timing. Timing. Ugh. Okay, on to our goats. Good morning, Cancer 61. Okay, our first angel is Astera. The second is Oceana. The third is Maya. And the final is Archangel Michael. We're going backwards this week, guys. I'm on Capricorn right now and heading towards Aries. Okay. Good morning, India. Astera is being joined by the Focus card. Oceana is being joined by the Burden card. Maya is being joined by the King. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the Disruption card. Okay. All right, my goats. Astera says to reach for the stars with my dreams and my desires and don't compromise. And then we have the Focus card. To me, oftentimes, when especially with a sign like Capricorn, when you want to look up at the mountain and figure out how to traverse it, and know which steps to take, sometimes I feel like this is about focusing on the outcome. This is not about focusing in on the steps to get there this week, because if you try to focus in on the steps to getting where you need to go, you're going to find yourself caught in a little bit of a burden here. And when I say burden, it almost feels again like I feel like this week is Spirit's turn through this new moon to show us evidence that all the hard work we've been putting in over the last year and a half, 2 years since Saturn went into Capricorn, to really look and where our focus is and what we're desiring. Because, and I'm going to kind of jump over to the fourth position. I have Archangel Michael and I have the Disruption card. Archangel Michael is the great protector, but he's also asked us to have courage. And in many ways, this Disruption card is not about disruption. It's about, if you're trying to focus on the steps, focus on the outcome. That's how you will start to have it's Spirit's turn to show you the next step. Because this, to me, feels like it's an opportunity. It's a karmic thing. It's almost, and when I say karmic, I mean it in a good way. I mean it in a way like when I've been doing the hard work, both emotionally and spiritually and physically and mentally and financially, whatever body you've been working on, whatever house you've been working on in your own chart, this is where the karma of what you've learned actually starts to show. Spirit will start to show you that what you want, this is, to me, this is karma. This is not a man, the king right now. This is more about the justice. You've been working hard. You've been working on your education. You've been looking at your actions, and you've been looking at the underbelly of where you've been focusing. So I want to say this for Capricorn rising This is a week to really allow yourself to be courageous. And if you've had doubt for some reason, if you've gotten to a point where you can't see where the next step is, then the next step isn't yours. The next step is spirit's. And your job this week is to focus in on the outcome of what it is that you want. And then to really put your order into spirit to start to give you the signs and the evidence that this new moon is indeed showing me that I have been manifesting and I'm ready for these things to start to come into my physical experience. Okay, small wildflowers, welcome back. That was a quick lawnmower, I gotta say. And now we're going backwards again this week, and we're going on to Sagittarius. And I'd like to say, if everybody would just indulge me for 1 minute. Last night, right before I was going to bed, I opened my phone, and on Facebook, I found out that a dear friend of mine's mother passed away. This was a friend of mine who I grew up with, literally went to church with, spent, every weekend at their home, every holiday. I mean, it's that family. And she was a Sagittarius. So I just kind of wanted to say for Arlene Brownson, sent her a shout out. She's now with God and the angels in heaven. And just, I feel a little emotional just even saying it. So we're going to miss her here. So thank you for indulging me. And we'll go on to Sagittarius. Okay, here we go. Our first angel is Maya. Our second is Astera. Oh my goodness. Just same thing for Capricorn. Athena is our third angel. And the final is Akasha. Okay. I believe she did have a peaceful crossing. Thank you so much. Okay. Sagittarius joining Maya is the King. These cards all coming out the same. It's so funny. Astera is being joined by the Perception card. Athena is being joined by the Cat. And Akasha is being joined by the Serpent. All right. So Maya always talks about schooling and education. And for me, 9 times out of 10, it is an energetic education. It is all about what is my focus, what is my attitude, what is my belief about the situation as I begin to endeavor it. And then I have the King. When I started this morning as I was getting ready, I just kept feeling like Spirit wanted me to really think that, when I was titling this video, the song "The Lion Sleeps Tonight" kept coming through my head, but Spirit kept saying the lion's not sleeping anymore. The lion is ready to roar, and that's what this new moon is. So I want to say for my Sagittarius, this again, the King is not representing law to me. It's not representing justice. It's representing karma, and this is good karma. This is the karma from doing the work, having my spiritual education, knowing that what my energy does and how that sets up the dynamic with which I'm going. Because, and I'm going to jump to the 4th position and then go back, Akasha is the spiritual teacher card. And then we have the Serpent, which is about shedding a new skin to me. It's healing and knowledge. It's the synthesis of this energy here in the beginning. And I don't believe that Sagittarius, while you do rule higher education, and many of you may be teachers, I think that it's just the experience of others watching you walk through the world as you have you integrated this energy. So people are benefiting from what you have learned about not only yourself, but about your energy as you walk into something, being able to let go of the shoulds and the obligatory energies, rather reaching for the stars with what you want and being mindful of your perception, because happiness is based on our perception. We can have all, I've seen people with all the privilege, material privilege, and yet they aren't happy at all. And they're focusing on what isn't working instead of what is working. And it's not easy to do. And with all this Saturn and Pluto energy coming up, it's meant to bring those things up. But as we allow for this karmic dynamic to come up and learn from it, then we can then synthesize that, and it makes it make sense, because here in the angel's advice is Athena saying that it's okay for you to lovingly assert yourself, and the cat's about having healthy boundaries, and about independence. And for me, this is not about independence from others. This is about independence in thought. This is about, no, I hate to say, I'm so blessed, you guys. I work from home. I do this work 7 days a week. I love this work, and I'm thriving. And it is because I have learned how to work with spirit, to trust my knowledge, to allow myself to synthesize it, and then to believe that if I believe that spirit will support my dreams, then they will start to give me evidence that they're coming true. And as I've aged, one of the most important things for me is freedom. Freedom from my time, freedom of my thought, freedom of my expression. And I've been so blessed to be able to experience those things. But I also had to work with spirit in being brave in claiming those things. So that's what I want to say for Sagittarius this week. I think it's about Athena in the angel's advice, and it's about, independently and asserting yourself towards what you want, and allowing your perception to say that you win, that you will enjoy these things. And then as you do that, and people are like, wow, how did that happen? You're like, I just started to believe in what I wanted instead of what wasn't working. Okay, that was Sagittarius. Let's go on to Scorpio. Okay. Oh, Dana, that's cool. A skeleton key from your grandpa. Oh, they're so magical, skeleton keys. I love them. Okay, welcome, Cancer 61. All righty, here we go. Scorpio. We are going backwards, everybody. I'm on Scorpio rising and heading towards Aries. Let's give it a good shuffle. The number this week, in case everybody missed it, was 157. Unfortunately, we did not have a winner, so we're going to try it again next week. And you guys have 1 week to claim your prize. Remember that. If you win, make sure that you make sure I know, and try to book it within a week. All right, here we go, Scorpio. Our first angel is Celeste. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Athena. And the final is Ray. Okay. Whoops. All right. Joining Celeste is the Bee card. Joining Grace and Antoinette is the Spider. Joining Athena is the Novice. And joining Ray is the Restriction card. Okay. Okay, Scorpio rising. This is Celeste talks about a new move to a new home, new place of employment, ushering in new energy, new positive energy. And then we have the Bee card. The Bee card represents luck, industriousness, and sweet victory. But for me, oftentimes, more times than not, the Bee asks me to look at what is my belief, what is my being energy as I walk into a situation. And Celeste offers me, as I shift my being energy into the dynamic with which I want to experience. Sometimes when we have had a long road to travel towards our dreams, whether it be meeting the right person in a love relationship, whether it be having children, whether it be getting that great job, we can tend to focus in on the road. We can tend to look through that rear view mirror and see every pothole, every speed bump, every detour. And then it becomes very challenging to get in our being energy, to find that belief within ourselves that the innocence of a child who has not experienced those things has. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle for my Scorpios, I have Grace and Antoinette, the card of compassion, and I have the Spider, about this represents creative projects, but it's also about, for me, the fly that gets into the web and doesn't come out. So I want to say this. Um, as you go through this metamorphosis, as you go through this period of time where Pluto is, hanging on you saying, where are you telling yourself a bad story, Scorpio rising? Where are you telling yourself a story where you constantly don't win? Because it's time for you to have compassion for yourself as you shift your belief about yourself and start to assert yourself in a new story. Because that's what Athena offers you. Athena says it is safe for you to lovingly assert yourself towards the things you want. And the novice is about skill without practice. And that is why you have compassion for yourself as you move towards the things that you want. In the last position, I have Ray and the restriction card. Ray talks about yoga and exercise being essential, and the restriction card is obviously a Saturnian energy. When I look at Ray, I see the colors, the chakra colors coming up through her third eye. I see her power center. I see her heart. I see how she speaks to herself. And so what I think this is about right now, and if you'll just excuse me for one little second here. I'm going to do that. Okay. I want to say for Scorpio rising, this is really an opportunity to take this new moon and to say, how can I shift those thoughts that my way of believing how things have been? How can I look at my history and have compassion for it as I start to think about things from a new perspective? And as I start to really, this restriction card feels like it's calming the noise in my mind. It feels like rather than being pushed back upon and being held back upon, it's about reflection and about being able to say, wow, as I shift that belief and I go to spirit and I say, give me evidence, because if anybody wants evidence, it's Pluto. Okay. So, and Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. That's why I'm calling you Pluto right now. Because spirit will provide that. And remember, I want it 3 times. Now be mindful of having the eyes to see it. So if a butterfly flies by, pay attention to it. Pay attention to the number of butterflies you see. If you see 3 different butterflies, that's one thing. If you see 2 butterflies flying around together, that can mean something completely different. That can be spirit saying, yes, a partnership is coming. And now it's time for you to allow your wings to dry so that you can fly. Opening up or broadening the way you're seeing your messages from God and the angels will help you feel more secure in knowing that you are headed towards your dreams and the things that you want. Okay, on we go to Libra. Why, thank you so much, Wildflower. I so appreciate it. I'm assuming you're hiding all these things, right? Hide, hide. Hide. Boy. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Little bit of management there, guys. Everybody in the room, give us a nice big love bubble so we can clean up the energy in here right now. And we're going on to Libra. Here we go. Libra rising, sun, and moon. We start with Libra rising, then we go to moon, and then sun. Small butterflies, the guy blasted like 15 of them at once or something, so I just took care of it. Okay, here we go. Good morning, Stephen. Welcome. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, SPM and Spoo Spa. Okay, here we go. Libra rising. We have Adriana, we have Mystique, we have Athena, and we have Maya. Sagittarius, I just did Sagittarius. We are going backwards this week again. I've kind of enjoyed doing it different. And I feel like Pisces and the last zodiac signs always wait so patiently. So we're putting them first for a while. So you can rewind to listen to Sagittarius. We are on Libra and heading towards Aries. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Lee. Okay. Joining Adriana is the Eagle. Joining Mystique is the Death card. Joining Athena is the Hawk. And joining Maya is the Swan. It's a lot of birds. All right, Leo. Not Leo. Libra. All right. Don't worry about the Death card. It's about transformation. All right. So here we go. Adriana is saying that she's leading you towards the answers to your prayers through your dreams, your intuitions, through those thoughts that you have. And then we have the Eagle, which is the connection to spirit. This is the angelic realm. I really want to say for everyone this week, this new moon in Leo is ushering a new energy for the rest of the year. I feel like the beginning of 2019 was really riddled with a lot of energies asking us to go deep, and now the willingness to have gone deep within our hearts, our minds, our souls. Now we're going to start to see that evidence, and that's what Adriana is promising us. The Death card is not about death; it's about transformation. It is the caterpillar that went into the cocoon that then feels like it's dying as it's transformed, because Mystique is about process. She's saying, yes, miraculous solutions will appear. Keep up the good work. Keep moving forward. For me, she's very much Gloria Estefan in that the song Coming Out of the Dark and Into the Light. And then here we have the transformation, because now the angels are offering, as we rise above our fears and we see a bigger picture, we can lovingly assert ourselves even more steadily and more securely towards our dreams and our desires. And this is Maya, this card of schooling and education, and there's the Swan. As you connect to spirit, this is your education, Libra rising, is to connect with God and the angels, to say to them, thank you. This is not about avoiding fear, okay? And I also don't believe that it helps to say, please help me. I feel like it's more like, thank you for giving me the eyes to see this through a new lens, a new perspective, because it is in that I get to transform from the ugly duckling into the swan. And then this, what Maya really offers, when you get a rhythm of going to spirit first before we endeavor anything. Let's say you want to date and Libra's decided, I'm going to get on a website and I'm going to start, dating again. Before you do that, then you go into prayer and you say, Spirit, thank you for bringing all the partners that would be best suited to me and how I want my life to roll. And when you do that, then even through some of those funky websites, Spirit can, filter in and nudge the right energy coming along. And oftentimes, and I want to say this too, when we go from one vibration to another, let's say we'll use the love body. You've been in a challenging relationship and you know that was out of balance, and yet there were certain dynamics about that really attracted you. Let's say the person was just very physically attractive to you, and yet they didn't have much integrity. When you're going into the next situation, you can say to Spirit, thank you for not only me finding someone who has an immense amount of integrity, but I'm also physically attracted to them and they are attracted to me. And if for some reason they hold the vibration of an old situation, thank you for making me brave enough to stand in the light of my truth, the truth of what I want to have, and not be fooled by the beauty. Because that's where I believe the swan comes in. And that's where we transfer from the ugly duckling into the swan. Okay, so that's what I want to say for Libra rising, sun, moon, or stelliums. Stellium is a group of planets within that sign, because that is going to be very influential on you as well. Okay, on to Virgo. Rising, sun, moon. Okay. Here we go. Okay. And I really want to emphasize when you guys see butterflies, don't discount moths either. Moths are in the same family and go through a similar metamorphosis. their coloring may be a little bit different and not as flamboyant or as striking as the butterfly, but it means something. I had a moth probably about like this big. Honestly, I have a picture on my Instagram account. It was humongous, had to have a 4-inch wingspan. And he landed, I say he, I don't know what it was, on my screen door, my front door. And I thought he was there for like 2 days, literally just laid there. And I thought maybe he was coming to pass away. But instead, after the third day, he flew away. And I thought, wow. And it made me think all about the third day. Jesus rose after the third day. It just was. Sometimes we have to kind of look at the messages and not just look at them for the surface of, oh, there's a butterfly. If it's a yellow butterfly, is that referring to my power center? If it's a blue butterfly, is that my throat chakra? There's so many opportunities within just that little animal to look at the various unique characteristics, is the word I'm looking for. Okay. On to Virgo rising. I was going to do crows this week, Pat, but I didn't. I decided to go with, I was so inspired by VK's story last night. And as I thought about it this morning, because the idea of we go out into nature seeking the signs, and the way the story read to me was that she was just sitting and enjoying the experience of communing with nature, and in it, nature came to her and sat on her foot and then flew away and flew back. And that's one of the things, if I could give each one of you a gift every week, is to invite in the experiences and let spirit do the heavy lifting and you being open to receive. Okay, on to Virgo. Oh, that's wonderful. Blessed. See, this to me is that this week feels like something is opening up. This week feels like for me that somehow we're all going to get little gifts and little bits of evidence that the hard work we've been putting in is paying off. So keep your eyes and your ears open. All right, here we go. Virgo rising. You guys aren't going to believe. Okay, so today's July 28th, and it's like cloudy outside right now. Okay, Virgo rising. Caressa is in the first position. Archangel Raphael is in the second. The third is Rochelle. And the final is Omega. That's lovely. Hello, Love Breathes. Welcome back. Okay. Caressa is being joined by the Focus card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Goblin. Rochelle is being joined by the Protection card. And Omega is being joined by the Mystery. Oh, this is cool. All right. So my Virgo rising, Sun, Moon, and Stelliums. Caressa talks about being at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, and to call upon God and the angels to comfort you if you're feeling unsure, unsettled, and mourning in some ways. And here is the Focus card, okay? I really think that this is God and the angels asking Virgo rising, etc., to focus in on what the next chapter is. What is the next chapter? What do you want for yourself? And then I have Archangel Raphael and the Ego card here in the opportunity or the obstacle. And I want to say that this is an opportunity to, I don't think this is about healing the ego. I think this is about working with the ego. I believe wholeheartedly that there is a wisdom to God creating not just the higher self and the id, but the ego. The ego gives us the powers of discernment. It gives us the opportunity to say, can I do that or can't I? And in our fear, in the ego saying, maybe you don't know, that's where empowerment lies. That's really, truly, it is within the ego and the balanced ego that we can experience the things of our heart. And in the angel's advice, I have the Protection card and I have Rochelle. Now, you guys have heard me say I hate to play favorites, but every time I see Rochelle, I get very excited because she says, as I honor and follow the guidance of my heart, that's where the ego is now finding its reconciliation. You know, when we're contemplating how we want to walk through this world, we contemplate all sorts of things. We contemplate how we will be received. Do we make enough money? Do we drive a nice enough car? Are we wearing nice enough clothing? And sometimes in that assessment, we're not following our dreams. So I feel like for my Virgos, you're being protected to, like, on some respects, to re-examine who is whose story are you playing from? Because I think this is about your story and honoring your heart. Because here is Omega, the card of victory. Okay, sweet victory. She says your desire is coming to fruition. Keep up the good work, and that's the focus. That's this right here, the focus on the new chapter, because this is all about choice. The mystery is about choice. So what I want to say is that also there could be the potential, because when I first saw this, I thought there could be the potential that Virgo rising has been told that they're not good at something, or that they can't do something, or that, you're not as good as the next guy. And I'm saying, no, 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 don't listen to that. Don't let somebody tank you. You hear those stories about the actor who goes in and gets rejected because they're not tall enough or they're not pretty enough, and then they go on to be a huge star because someone else gave them a break. That's what I feel like this is really about for Virgo rising, moon and sun. This is about focusing in on the next chapter, where you want to go. And as a result of going into that, I feel like this is where you can start have your ego work for you instead of chirping in your ear all that negativity. It can instead start to chirp in the things that you really want. And now we're going to start to see that new moon evidence. I want to say this for you guys that, various people like to do on the moons, various rituals. Lots of times people will work on vision boards in a new moon because they're declaring their vision of what they want. I want to offer you guys this idea. And Lee K, my rookie, I hope you like it. I want to say, how about if you celebrate the next chapter, this new moon? Regardless if you see it, celebrate it in some way. Buy yourself flowers, go to the golf range and hit some balls if you like that. Whatever you find fun and enjoyable, allow yourself to declare a celebration of the next chapter and see how that works. I love the name Spirit Walker. There's a great book called Spirit Walker, I believe, by Hank Wesselman. Spirit Walker. It was a series of 3. I love that book. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're going on to our Leos. It's your moon. All right. Time to roar, guys. Time to roar. Thank you, Lee. Okay. Our first angel is Desiree. Our second is Archangel Uriel. Our third is Francesca. And the final is Daniel. Well, let's see what's happening. We are on Leo rising, and we are going backwards again, guys. So here we're headed towards Aries. All right. Leo rising. The King is joining Desiree. The Wasp is joining Uriel. Francesca is being joined by the Love card. And the final card is Daniel. Oh, boy. Okay. Well. Desiree talks about conditions not necessarily being favorable for forward motion. And then here's the King. The King is about karma. The King is about justice. The King is about male energy. The King is about things pertaining to the law. When I look at this right now, it's funny to me because, Leo is the king, right? The king of the zodiac, the king of the lions. And I feel like when I'm looking at this, I'm going to jump to the final position because Daniel's the angel of marriage. And then there's the Bee card. And the Bee represents sweet victory, luck. And we've been talking about the being energy. I want to say this for my Leos, okay? In the opportunity obstacle, we have a little stingy energy in the wasp, and we have Archangel Uriel that talks about frustration, okay? So I want to offer you this idea. I feel like, in some respects, if you've been going through a challenge in your intimate body, Daniel's here, that it is time for you to stand in leadership for yourself. And when I say leadership, I mean that in such a way where you start to visualize the kind of relationship that you want, the love that you want to nurture, not only within the relationship, but within yourself. I feel like with Desiree saying that conditions aren't favorable and the king being there, I feel like this, to be honest, it feels like Leo might be feeling a little bit, how can I put this? I don't know if you're enjoying your relationships right now. I guess I want to say it that way. It's kind of like, if this okay, here we go. If Leo has been in a relationship for a long period of time, or been longing for a relationship for a long period of time, I think what Desiree and the king are trying to say is that up until now, conditions have not been favorable because there's history that's been coming up. There's all this Pluto energy. Daniel represents, what am I bringing in? He says, I'm bringing you a marriage partner, but what are you bringing into the relationship through your history? So I feel like this is really an opportunity for my Leos to look at what has come before, what has hurt your feelings, what has frustrated you, and then to focus in on the absolute opposite. On, you know what? It's a good thing that those relationships are back here. Um, and I'm going to fix this for those of you that are still in relationships, because it's about recalibration in some ways. It's about saying to yourself that I'm willing to look at how I show up in relationships. I'm willing to look at where I have shaved off things that I want, where I've allowed myself to get frustrated. And now I'm going to be the energy that I want to receive. Okay, let me put this more succinctly because I feel like I'm all over the place for Leo. I titled this video, The Lion Doesn't Sleep Tonight, because I think this is about claiming what it is that you want. And this feels like this is about relationships. This feels like it's about being seen in relationships and seeing the others. So if you've been in choppy relationships and you're still single, then Spirit is watching over you and asking you not to get frustrated anymore, but instead to turn that frustration and annoyance and anger over to Archangel Uriel so he can transform that, so you can see that Spirit's been actually having your back this whole time, so that you can feel the kind of relationship and the kind of love, not only from others, but from yourself. So, because I feel like at the end of the day, those that are single, relationships could very much be coming your direction. Okay, you could be finally getting to that place where you're inviting in that healthy relationship, because no longer will you settle for any relationships that don't line up with the vision of how you want to live your life. And now you're owning it. And for those of you that have been in relationships for a long time, these sometimes can even be more challenging because you have habits with those people and you have habits that can be frustrating. But again, this is about giving an opportunity to see things through new eyes and turning over that frustration to Spirit. You won't make it if you keep going up against the human like this. It's going up to Spirit and saying, give me the eyes to see things through a fresh lens, and let me allow my history of this relationship to transform into a platform for empowerment rather than pulling me down. I really do think that there's an opportunity. I felt very strongly for Leo the last few weeks that you guys, a little TLC for my Leos. I want to give them a little TLC. I want to say, you're absolutely, you deserve to enjoy everything. If we didn't have Leo in the zodiac, it would be a sad time. So let your fun flag fly. Let your heart lead you this week. And when you are engaging with those that you love, try to focus in on where you want that relationship to go and to be versus what you've known about it. And in doing so, I believe the bee offers us victory in our partnerships. Okay, on to dun 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 Cancer. Wrong card. Here we go. My little moon children, it's your turn. Okay. Yes, we are going on to Cancer. All right. Okay, here we go. Give it a good shuffle. Cancer 61, you always say thank you for bringing that relationship in for my daughter and for myself and for all those who will benefit from it. Okay, here we go. Really? Teri is a Hindu language word and it means you? Your? How funny. Well, that's neat. Okay, here we go. My Cancer rising, moon, and sun. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. Our second is Rosetta. The third is Opal. And the final is Santa. Wow, that's beautiful. Got chills all over. Okay, here we go. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Truth card. Rosetta is being joined by the Grail Knight. Opal is being joined by the King. And Xana has been joined. Oh, I have chills everywhere. Okay. Cancer, rising, sun, moon, or stelliums. This is all about family this week. And I think it's about making families because this is Archangel Michael. You know, he's the great protector. He is the kind of the chief of the archangels. And he is also about courage and courage to go to your deepest truth. And I want to say this because oftentimes when we're mulling onto this little journey of life and we want to experience certain things and they haven't come about, and one birthday goes by and then another birthday and then we start seeing numbers creeping up and we start thinking, oh no. I think that's where Archangel Michael is asking you to go to your deeper truth, and this is what he wants to ask you. Do you believe you actually incarnated in a life where you would not get the things that you want? Because I believe that this is about birthing babies. I believe it's about parenting. I believe it's about working with young children, teaching, and having that be a very sacred mission for my Cancers. I mean, you're the fourth house. It is home. It is hearth, property, vehicles. But it's about kids this week because there's Opal. Opal says your children are safe in heaven and on earth. And your children start off in heaven before they come to earth, and they're picking you as the parents. They're also picking their life path. They're picking their birth charts, because here, this is not about men. This is about karma. This is about, yes, my Cancers are designed to be family people, family mothers and fathers and grandparents. And because here's Xana, the card of protection, and here's the water fairy. The water fairy is about my emotions, about my intuitions, about my feelings. I feel like for my Cancers, it feels like for those of you that are of childbearing years, God and the angels are assuring you that the families you want to create are indeed in the works, if not, on their way, and that you are being protected. And oftentimes, if things haven't manifested in a certain way or a certain timing that you anticipated, maybe going to that deeper truth and saying, would I actually have decided? Because I'll tell you this, when I was younger and I would go to psychics and they would tell me I was going to be a mother, it never resonated with me. I never felt that maternal pull to actually have a baby. And yet, doing this work and working with a lot of children, some are young and then, obviously adults, I feel like I get very much that part of my human experience fulfilled. So for me, for my Cancers this week, this is about really being brave and courageous in your deepest truth of what you want in the way of family, home, and hearth, and to really know that Spirit is protecting you as this goes into process. And I want to remind my Cancers about the butterfly, totem this week. The butterfly When it's stage is one thing, when it's in its butterfly stage is another, but the in between stage is a nightmare for that little butterfly, caterpillar, transforming little being. It's vulnerable to wasps, it's vulnerable to all sorts of things, and it has to trust God and the angels to make it through to the butterfly. So I want to say, we make these life contracts with God, with the angels, with at our team. We all have a team that's watching over us. So when you're asking yourself these questions or wondering, will I get the things I want? Go be courageous to go to the deeper truth and know that if for some reason it has not manifested, it's because you're being protected from taking a situation that would not have been truly aligned to your biggest heart's desire. Okay, on we go to our Geminis. Oh, Love Breeze. Yeah, the bringing up a lot of family. I don't know if you were here during Sagittarius, but my childhood best friend's mom, who was like my mom growing up, passed away just a day or so ago, and it's had me reflective, and yeah, lots of things. All right, let's go on to Gemini, guys. Gemini rising, Gemini moon, Gemini sun. This is for you, and of course, stelliums in Gemini. Okay. Thank you, Cancer 61. Okay, here we go. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Sonia. The third is Opal. Wow. And the final is Yvonne. Whoa. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, good wow. Good wow. And I want to say this, Love Breeze, you just put this whole thing about your mom's birthday, and Sonia represents a message from a deceased loved one. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a little bit for you specifically, as well as everybody else. But since you just wrote in the chat about your mom and then this comes up, it feels rather poignant. Okay. Joining Rosetta is the communications card. Joining Sonia is the birth and the rebirth card. Joining Opal is the dragon. And joining Yvonne is Merlin. Okay. So here we have Rosetta. Rosetta talks about having a gift, working with children, parenting and teaching. And then we have the communications card. I want to say this for my Gemini rising, sun and moon. I feel like, Gemini is a sign of the twins. There is you guys have this way of assessing things sometimes where you can sort of look at one side of it and sort of reconcile that in your mind and then shoot over to another side and start to reconcile that, and then that'll bring you back over here, and there can be a little bit of a loop going on. And I want to say this, I feel like what Rosetta and the communications card is asking you is to really start to fall on the side of when you're doing your loop, one side is a good story and one side is a challenging story. Okay. So I feel Spirit's asking you to go to the good side of the story and to start to really think about the win, because I'm going to go to the fourth position. Merlin offers us balance, alchemy, but it comes through, and justice. It comes through pressure and being vulnerable to a little bit of the unknown, meaning, when we're in the midst of a manifestation, when we're in the midst of creating our lives, we do it in a series of stages. Pardon me, just do that. We do it in a series of stages. We get that initial idea that we're so excited about and we're going to take action on. And then as we walk through it, there can be like a bit of a desert sometimes when our actions are in the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. Where is the money going to come from? Where is the resources going to come from? And I say that because for Gemini, if you get too stuck in the how, it'll really thwart what you want to manifest, because it'll start to put your focus in on the challenges, and the challenges will start to look insurmountable, because that's what Merlin is balanced through pressure. Okay, so in your opportunity or obstacle, I have the birth and the rebirth card, and I have Sonia. Sonia represents a deceased loved one from heaven saying hello and hi. Sorry. And also the birth and the rebirth card. So where I'm going with this for Gemini is I believe that for the most people, this is your spirit guides, okay, watching over you and asking you to have the communication, the thoughts that there is a rebirth coming, that there is, there's a time, because I have Opal and the dragon in the angel's advice. Opal is about my children on heaven and earth being safe and well cared for. And then I have the dragon, which is about power and strength. Now, it's interesting to me because when the two baby cards came out for Cancer, they felt like actual children. For me, for Gemini, these don't feel like children. They feel like the innocence of a child. It's almost like finding a way to tone down the noise of the back and the forth and going into the naivete that says children believe in superheroes, children believe in magic, children believe that everything is good in the world. So I feel like that's where Spirit is really asking you to take this communication, this childlike energy, and communicate to yourself and your spirit guides about the story where you win, and to assert yourself and know that these represent your dreams. And if your dreams are to have children, if you're of childbearing years, awesome. But more so right now for Gemini, it's the childlike innocence that says that you win. And that's what this new moon is about. And this is about being vulnerable to a bigger picture too, to knowing that that piece of coal went into that pressurized place to come out a multifaceted diamond that reflects light. So this week, I want to encourage Gemini, rising moon, sun, stelliums to really communicate with spirit from the innocence of a child, telling them the story where you win and you're excited, and then allow them to show you a new story. Allow them to start to give you, because I absolutely believe that this week for all of us, there's going to start to be evidence in an attitude change, in the way that we feel about our lives, in the actual experiences coming towards us, because we've been working hard towards allowing that Pluto and Saturn energy to transform. Okay, going on to Taurus. Here we go. Taurus moon, Taurus sun, Taurus rising, not in that order, Taurus rising, moon, sun. Here we go. Portia, it's honestly, whether Vedic or natal or Western, I when it comes to your natal charts, I find that it's my soul's contract. So I kind of have an interesting dynamic, because in whole sign, I have the nodes, south and the north node, in the first and the seventh house, Aries, Libra. And yet I'm south node in the first house, I'm very much myself, which is kind of interesting. And then the north node in the seventh house of partnerships, it never really resonated with me. But you go into Placidus and you put those nodes in the sixth and the 12th house, it makes perfect sense to me. So I use Placidus in that respect, and then whole sign, the rest of my chart makes sense. So you might want to look at various ways of the charts being laid out, and not try to just stick with one. Just kind of allow yourself a hybrid of things. Because when we make our contracts, I don't know if God says, do you want to make it in Vedic or do you want to make it in Western? No, I don't think he does that. So, all right, here we go, guys. Taurus, rising, moon, and sun. Okay. Our first angel is Desiree. Our second is Azure. Our third is Omega. And the final is Yvonne. All right, here we go. Good morning, Heidi. Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Spirit Walker again. Remember, we're playing the game. Be sure to put in your number from 1 to 500. All the ones we played are out of play, but you can win a free half hour with me. Come back next week, claim your prize. All right, here we go, Taurus. Desiree is being joined by the Fire Fairy. Azure is being joined by the butterfly. Omega is being joined by the bee. And Yvonne is being joined by the Grail Knight. Well, well, well. All right. For my Taurus, here we go. The Fire Fairy talks about creative action and optimism, and Desiree says conditions are not favorable. Well, that's very interesting to me because I'm going to jump to the fourth position. I have Yvonne and the Grail Knight. The Grail Knight represents romance, illusion, and seeking the sacred. And Yvonne, for me, is a card of vulnerability. I'm going to say this for my Taurus rising. I don't think Desiree is saying that conditions aren't favorable. I think maybe that Taurus has had a certain way of looking at their intimate body and their intimate relationships, and that this is really a time not to go on to your history, but instead to move into a place of more optimism. The Fire Fairy for me is like the Queen of Wands in the tarot deck. So she will represent Leo, she'll represent Aries, and she'll represent Sagittarius. And I feel like I'm going to go to the fourth position and then I'll scoot back around because it's time to be vulnerable to the deeper desires of what you want in a relationship. And if indeed you've been in a relationship that was not aligned, I'll use that word, but also in a relationship where you are over compromising or under compromising, either way, I feel like that's part of this is about being vulnerable to a deeper picture and what you want in a deeper connection. Because in our opportunity and or our obstacle is, as you're saying, your desired outcome will happen in the very near future. You don't have to force it because you're going through a metamorphosis. And that is the metamorphosis of the butterfly. This butterfly, I have to say, this is where we go back to Desiree. Your wings you could be laying out and drying right now. Your wings, you may have popped the the cocoon, but you're not quite ready to fly. This is your opportunity and or your obstacle. The angels are saying, Taurus rising, victory is among you. You can get victory once, you got it twice. With the B card, it represents sweet victory. Omega represents victory. But part of what Taurus has to do is be okay with the timing of things. If the butterfly tries to fly too soon before those wings have fully dried, it will crash to the ground. So you being vulnerable to a deeper picture of what it is that you want and saying, I'm just going to slow my roll for a minute and allow myself to observe the situation. And is it lined up to what I want? Is that person following through with what they say they're going to do? Are they feeding me a bunch of stories, but there's nothing to back it up? Or are they actually following through? Are they being the person that I want to meet in the world? This is what I feel for Taurus. I feel like it's about a time of holding the line for what you want, knowing that if you put a desire out into the universe, it almost always is, the probability of it being manifested is there. It's up in the upper 100 percentile. But how do we cooperate with that? Because it is in many ways our focus, our viewpoint. Are we being optimistic, or are we feeling like, no, nothing good ever happens, and every time I date somebody, he turns out to be a total jerk, or he ghosts me, or da da da. We have to get out of our story and get into our future, get into the present, and start to really kind of lay that being energy. And when I say it, I feel like I'm saying to spirit, I'm not asking, please. I'm saying yes, now I'm ready. I'm ready to be the person. I'm ready to own authentically everything I want in a relationship. Because if you're not owning everything you want in a relationship, then Desiree is going to kick in. Because Desiree is going to say, and that's your oversoul saying you're not being really authentic. You might be settling. Sometimes we think we're being really authentic in our excitement but sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're like, this is really, really good. It's really, really good. But if we were to just design it all on our own, there'd be other things going on. I hope that all made sense. It made sense to me, I think. I can't decide. All right, we're going on to Aries, our final sign today. We've been doing a little going backwards lately, guys. It just kind of feels good to me. And I think about how many times Aries and Aquarius and Capricorn all have to wait till the very end. I thought, well, we're just going to do something different. We might stick to it for a while. We'll see. Okay, Aries rising, that's me. Aries sun and moon, Aries stelliums. I know a person who has like, I don't know, 25 planets in Aries in the 11th house. Oh my goodness gracious, this guy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I also want to offer this when I talk about love lives and stuff. And, I see a lot of comments, and myself included. A lot of people have not found their person, their other half. Um, Early in life. And I believe that there is a lot of us who have incarnated to actually enjoy those things in the Upachaya years, in the years when we're a little bit more seasoned on the planet, because I believe that we're part of a light force that's saying that there's more. We're not ready to swirl the drain when we turn 50. We're not ready to, get out our rocking chairs and sit around and turn in the towel. So I feel like those of you that have not experienced that big love in your life yet, and you're seeing the clock tick and you're seeing the years go by, I really want to shift that thought for you and think that you're part of that team that said, you know what? I got to discover me in the first part, and then I'll get to discover you now. And this is a perfect timing, not just for me, but also for the world to see that love has no age. It's not just for youth. It's not just for childbearing. It's for all ages. So there we go. Okay, on to Aries. Our first angel is Isaiah. Our second is Daniel. Love is in the air. Caressa is our third angel. I'm telling you, love is in the air. Leo is just bringing the love. And there's Layla. Okay. Here we go. Ooh. Joining Isaiah is Joy. Joining Daniel is the Raven. Joining Caressa is the High Priestess. And joining Layla is the Disruption card. Okay, so this kind of feels like spirit backing up what I just said. And I'm gonna be kind of really weird with Aries, and I'm gonna go right to the final position, because this Disruption card does not feel disruptive. It feels like spirit is asking us to connect with the elements of nature, and that is, I want to offer you this too. Up until now, I've been talking about only animal totems, birds and reptiles and other such things. I'm going to talk about trees and other elements in nature coming up soon as well, because there's other things besides just animals. Now, the reason I'm starting with Aries in the final position is because Spirit is really wanting to disrupt whatever frustration you are feeling, because in your foundational position, it's time to give birth to new ideas and new situations joyously. And anything that has not worked, it's time to disrupt that thought, because here is Daniel, the angel of marriage, in our opportunity and or our obstacle. And there's the Raven that talks about timing. It talks about coincidence, synchronistic events, magic. And Daniel will ask us often to look at our history. What has been our history in relationships? And if indeed we have had a challenging history, it's time to let magic do its thing, and to recalibrate our view of it and go back to our original vision. Because there's the High Priestess, and here is Caressa saying you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you. So what I want to say is this feels like an opportunity for my Aries rising to look at their lives and to start to give birth to new ideas, new situations, new dynamics. And this is not just about like new, oh, I'm going to move across the street. I'm talking about if you've been in a seasoned relationship, and let's say that you're about to be an empty nester and your kids are, about to go off to college, and you and your spouse are looking at each other. This is a new chapter to offer yourself joy, to get excited about your partnership, and to recalibrate it into how the two of you would like to be now. You're more seasoned on the planet. You may have, got a little nest egg going there. So you're able to really start to do the bucket list. And the bucket list may be silly stuff like a cooking class, or, going on a hot air balloon ride. It doesn't have to be Mount Everest. And for my Aries, this is a lot about disrupting whatever thoughts are not bringing what like, okay, so this is how I want to put it. So you are, you've got a busy life. Let's say you are about to be an empty nester, but your kids still have to graduate. You still got to get through prom. You still have blah, 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 blah. This is what spirit wants to disrupt, is the busy noise in your head, so that you can get down to the more exciting, joyous things and start to, I think this is about starting to not just plan, but put your directives up again, because it is a timing issue. And this is what else I want to say about, if this indeed is for single Aries rising, that's me. That this partnership does not always mean marriage partnership. It could be a business partnership. It could be a partnership that leads you closer to a way and a lifestyle that you want, an ease that you want, a flow. But the main thing I'm getting for my Aries rising right now is that it's about recalibrating your vision and focusing in on the things. Brene Brown says that joy is the hardest emotion for humans to feel, because the minute that we feel joy, we start to feel, oh no, what's going to come in and disrupt that? What's going to pull the rug out from underneath me? And that's what I think Spirit is trying to say for Aries rising this week. There doesn't have to be a rug that gets pulled out from underneath you, that you have in many ways worked very hard. And I say that because I'm talking about emotional work and spiritual work, believing in yourself. And now it's time to give life to the idea that you do deserve to live this joyous life. And whatever hasn't happened yet, it's just a matter of timing before Spirit brings it in. Because Caress is saying you're at the end of a life cycle. That life cycle is the things that you don't get, the end of what you don't want, and stepping into the vision of what you do want and what you want to experience from a more full, rich-bodied, savory dynamic. Okay, that's it for this week. I want to remind everybody we have that new moon in Leo, so do something fun. Celebrate almost like pre-party for the prom. Celebrate something, even if it hasn't come into fruition just yet. Letting Spirit know that you're joyously in anticipation of their next communication, so you'll know what your next right move is. Again, our animal totem is butterfly this week, and I wanted to really offer you guys an opportunity to allow Spirit to. What VK did was she sat in a garden and allowed Spirit to reveal itself to her. So maybe this week allow this Leo new moon to reveal more pleasure, more fun, more opportunities for frivolity, and for your own creative genius. If you guys start popping a lot of ideas off, don't just blow them off, write them down. They could be the seeds of your next manifestation. All right, again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm here on Lada's channel every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. with messages from your angels. If you'd like to get a reading from me, you can go to Lada's channel. I'm on the readers menu, and you can just reach out to me through there. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Sunday. We will be in August, and summer will be midstream here in the United States. Blessings to all of you. May God and the angels watch over you and bless you for the week and always. Bye. Thank you, small wildflowers. See you next week.